So good. I mean, 40i is doing well, and congratulations. And I'm happy to see a lot of innovation and tech, and interesting things. What's new? What's happening in the market? What's really interesting now?
I think a lot's happened in the last 3 or 4 years we've been in this space. The ecosystem has moved along a hell of a lot. I mean, the quality and quantity of deal flow has increased a lot. We're seeing companies that were very early stage startups starting to become mature businesses now. So there are some potential poster children for what's possible, some possible early successes coming through. We're also seeing quite a lot of more interest on the investor side. Quite a lot of more money coming into the sector, which is one of the things I'd hoped we could achieve by being one of the early players, was to demonstrate what's possible and get other people excited
And
about coming into us.
attract people
Exactly.
into the VC space.
What do we need? We need an ecosystem more
Yeah.
than anything. And an ecosystem is a vibrant network of investors, startups, mentors, everybody. So I would say that we've seen quite a rapid acceleration in the growth of the ecosystem. So it gives me a lot of hope that we're on the right track. Things are moving well, going in the right direction. And look, what we need now is a major success to happen sometime in the next few years.
And show the world that South Africa is a hub for innovation. And there've been great things here in this country before. I mean, and I think in the tech space, we will still demonstrate to the world that there's skill, there's capability, there's innovation, and there are things that can be taken to global level.
Definitely, and we need to show that it's repeatable.
Yeah.
It's not just one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
But time and time again, we can deliver global grade innovative companies, and that we can get returns on investment. And there's so much positive roll-on that comes from that. If you look at the Valley, it's often the founders that succeeded in the one generation that are backing the founders of the next generation,
and then it continues,
and so it rolls forward.
But I mean, there are South Africans in the Valley too.
Well, exactly, and one of the things we want to actually demonstrate is that you don't have to leave any longer.
Yeah.
You don't have to go there necessarily. It can happen here. It can be successful here.
And build that link between South Africans in the Valley and South Africans here.
So that's a big part of what we're trying to do with 40i. Is, one of our partners lives in America, and we have a US office, and we have this beachhead that's there, and we're trying to bridge the gaps, and hopefully we'll be able to demonstrate some tangible results in the next couple of years.
No, I'm very excited with what you guys are doing. I think that US link to me, and I mean, it's very clear that, social media, who knows what next? I think we all have seen social media, what social media has done. And I think we're looking for something new. That's going to capture the eye of, 7 billion people. Interesting stuff. There are wearable computers, there's, Google glasses, and interesting stuff coming.
Would you enjoy wearing a Google Glass?
I wear glasses now when I read, and I sometimes think about it and say, I wonder how it's going to be.
Yeah.
But I think the technology that to me is appealing is all these human issues. Whether it's more at the genetics level or whether generally, more lifestyle type technologies, things that can, elongate human life, and I think those are things that are quite interesting.
I think we have an advantage here in that we have a different perspective. When you're in the Valley, you tend to be sucked into the Valley groupthink and view the world through the same lens. As Africans, we have the opportunity to view the world differently and to tackle different problems or come up with different solutions from another perspective, which is something that's quite unique in the world. And we need to
I think that's why they say this is the African century. 800 million mobile phones now. We will reach 1 billion by 2017.
Yeah.
Think about those applications that we can push into those phones. And the population of Africa is young. About 60% of, the population of Africa is people below the age of 30.
It's just getting started with being economically liberated. You're just starting to see digital payment systems and a number of other solutions coming through that are necessary for the kind of large-scale innovation that's going to really launch this.
When do you think cash will cease to exist and we will use?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure.
I truly think that there's no need for cash. I think in particular in markets like Africa, we need to now be using NFC, we need to be using different types of transacting rather than...
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges and barriers. I mean, there are cultural challenges. I mean, in some African countries, they're mistrustful of digital means.
By the way, yeah.
We've got to
But
actually
here's
break through
M-Pesa.
those. So yeah, so there's a win in Kenya, but why has it stayed in Kenya and hasn't?
There are regulations. I think. I mean, I think in fact in South Africa, if we can address issues of regulations, I mean, people will use electronic money. I mean, we were the first in the ATM business. I mean, more than many years ago. I mean, before ATMs were popular in Europe, South Africans had ATMs and they could draw money from an ATM, and we were leaders in the ATM technology and how interbank transactions work. I still believe that what's wrong in taking ATM to a mobile device? You know, I mean, I think these are things, in my view, we should be innovative and think about. I mean,
I definitely think that the next decade of venture capital, technology innovation can happen from here, looking up at the African continent, whereas to date it's been very much US, Europe focused. You know, global tech innovation has looked at the first world, but most of those problems have been solved. And I think the level of maturity of the African continent is just starting to approach the state of readiness that's needed to set that spark off.
China is another league. I mean, what is this? What is this? South African, look at South African company in China partnering and build one of the biggest social media platforms. Very interesting. You know, thanks a lot and all the best. Great. Cool.